coming down.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you may be in the world. And welcome, and thank you along, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. Welcome along here in the Dutch dunes, of course, where this beautiful circuit park Zandvoort is located. A track that is 4.25 kilometers long, has 14 corners, and is the only track on the F1 calendar with bankings as high as here in Zandvoort. The track opened in 1948 and has hosted numerous series: DTM, WTCC, Masters of Formula 3, Formula 2, and of course the pinnacle of motorsports, Formula 1. Today we're here with the Radical World Series Americas, and we're in the SR8 again. Joining me in the commentary booth today is the lovely Daan Biggles. And Daan, like I just touched on, we're back in the SR8.
Well, yeah, all I can say is you're welcome, of course, sir. You're welcome for the cars and the tracks that you've pulled from motor racing. There's no need to pray. It's okay. You're welcome. Absolutely. I'm back again at Zandvoort, here in your home country, my friend. I was here early for the European division, which was an absolute cracker. Lots of racing, lots of overtaking, believe it or not, as well, on a difficult track to overtake, and certainly lots of incidents. So we'll see how the Americas across the pond can deal with the situation that the Europeans had to deal with earlier.
Well, we're going to see, of course, this track, well, I guess most famous for the bankings that it has in Formula 1 now. Sadly, however, though, with the version of the track that we have here in iRacing, usually iRacing is quite late with updating the track, so we do not have the bankings on the track yet. However, I personally think, Biggles, that adds to the characteristics of the track. It's more of a driver's track now. It's not as easy to drive on, and it is a proper difficult one, especially turn 3, where if you go wide on exit, basically your whole run onto Skyvlog is completely ruined, as we see someone going deep into the chicane off the track. That's something that we're going to see happen a lot here this evening, Biggles. But all in all, I think a track that is one where a driver is going to have to make the difference.
Yeah, regardless, as you said, whether those updates are there with the banking, I don't think anything's going to be easier. It certainly wasn't easy in the European division before. Easy mistakes as you can watch the cars go through those S's at the moment you mentioned. I think you'll be a lot better than I will be, Dan. You're going to pronounce all those names there in Dutch. That's you'll be able to do that. We know Tarzan.
I'll try my best.
Okay, Tarzan's one that we all are very much aware of. But one thing we're aware of as well, too, is the fact that we have every single body here from the Americas, I believe, apart from maybe, we'll have to check whether or not Manuel here is, there is Manuel's from Colombia, so get that one. But we do have Arteques, you can pronounce his surname, that was actually in the European division earlier, and he's back to race here.
Is it?
He's flown across.
Arturas Koundelis.
Koundelis, there it is. So, yeah, I believe. I'm not sure the nationality specifically the flag he's racing under, but there it is. He's in Central Europe. He's the only European here. So he's invading the Americas. He's invaded the Europe before. Everybody else here is from the United States. North and South America, of course, a couple of Canadians in here, and Australian there. Scott Gallion, good to see Scotty out there. You're now going to have support from me, my friend, of course, as I did mention too, and Nathan, sorry. That's also joined the Aussies. A couple of North Americans, a couple of Canadians. And as we mentioned there before too, we have Brazilian there of Lucas Vieira. It looks very, very quick. He has the highest I rating in this strength of field. That's the man right there on Wheels TV Racing, the number 2 machine. So look out for Brazilians, we know. And he's, as he looks like he's sporting that very Senna-esque helmet, or similar to a Senna-esque helmet. Why not? The Brazilian legend himself. And there's also a Colombian driver that we saw before. So yeah, Dan.
Biggles, let's talk a bit about the format for this evening. Of course, for the people that have seen the Europe ones, this is not going to be new to you, but for the people who haven't, I'm quickly going to inform you on how we're going to run this evening. We've had practice already. We're going to have a 10-minute low qualifying, which the drivers are on at the moment. And then after that, we're going to have a 30-minute race. Now, in the Europe server, they did 20 laps in those 30 minutes. If we're going to be able to make those 20 laps here in the American one, I don't know. It's something we're going to have to see. But we're at least able to do 20 laps. That is what the Europe has shown us. And with that being a server that had more drivers, I'm leaning towards maybe 21 laps if we can get close here in the America servers. We're going to see at the end of the race what we get, but that's
Dan,
the format for this evening.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much, Dan. We'd like to go on board right now with the Brazilian, and this is your home track, and you give us a hot lap guide around Zandvoort, please, from a Dutch perspective.
Coming into turn 1, of course, stars on a very tricky corner. Of course, banked in the Formula 1 now. Then through turn 2, Gerlach Bocht, the tricky one. You want to set up for Hugenholz. And you got to cut back. You want to get a slingshot onto Hunseruch. A difficult name to say, even for Dutch people, actually. Then we have Slotemaker Bocht, the one to the right here, that sets you up for Schijfvlak. Schijfvlak, a left front tire eater, basically. It shreds those left front tires. It's a very long right-hander. Then into the Master Bocht, a tricky one into turn number 9, which is actually very originally called Bocht 9, which is Dutch term for turn 9. Into turn 10, a tricky one, left-hander, turning, braking at the same time. You can lock up very easily. Don't go too wide on exit through turn 10. Then into the Hans Ernst chicane, which is basically the name of the chicane, into turn 11 and 12. You want to get a good exit out of here because this is going to determine your run onto the straight again. Then into the Comho Bocht, which is turn 13 on the track. Through turn 14, the Arie Luijendijk Bocht, of course, a legendary Dutch driver. Won, of course, the Indy 500 once upon a time, Arie Luijendijk. Across the line for Lucas Vieira. And what's he going to be able to produce for us? Is he going to go to pole position? Yes, he is. On a 1:31.022 Biggles. That's a quick lap time. But if we looked at the Europes earlier on, we can expect maybe down to a 1:30.313. We don't know if track conditions are the same, but that's what we can expect. A little bit of a snap there though for Vieira, so that's what's going to help him out, but a good first lap for him.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I think you had a little bit of that Orange Army support with you up in the casting box there on board, riding with Lucas, as you can see, as the sun is setting here on the coastline of the Netherlands. And just to ask you about, because I noticed that most of those corners end with block. Is it block? Block. Yeah, what is that? Does that mean corner or turn?
Yes.
Okay,
That is
I
turn,
figured that
basically.
one.
It's not corner, it's called turn, but
all right.
it's
that's why they end with that. That makes
it.
perfect sense. Okay, here we go. We're watching on board with the American 617 machine there of Eric Harmon. I tell you what, it's a lot easier to pronounce some of these America's names than it is the European ones, so I apologize about it. Stephen Place, of course, we know Stevie.
He's one I know.
It's the Canadian machine. Yeah. Stevie's been around everywhere, right? On iRacing. You probably haven't been iRacing. We haven't met this man on track somewhere along the line.
Oh, look at that. Diego Zuccarelli goes to the pole on a 1:31.007. However, though, Lucas Vieira not improving at the moment. The man who looks to go quickest is this man, Arturas Koundelis. He's going to come across the line. He's purple sector 2 and 3 and 4, excuse me. And across the line for him, and that is a pole position time if I've ever seen one, a 1:30.655. Now we do know Biggles can go at least 3/10 quicker.
Well, he can, and he did earlier today, the European division. The only man that raced in the European division, and he's got a bone to pick because he was involved in a little bit of a momentum incident when they were battling it out for the P4 positions. If you go to check that one out earlier, obviously on the JP Broadcasting Network, you'll be able to find that one. Click the bells and like and subscribe, of course, and go back and watch the Europe. I'm sure some of these drivers that were watched the European race early here for the Radical Series and found out how they were doing it. Lucas going a little bit quicker. There's many purple sectors there. Lucas Vieira, of course, wants to try to dethrone everybody here for the Brazilian driver, obviously sporting that Ayrton Senna spirit. See how everybody else pans out. Diego, as you mentioned, is in that P3. And where's my Aussie guys? Well, unfortunately, Nathan's running in P10 at the moment. Scott hasn't come out and track. That's Scott Colohan. So, yeah, about 13 and change or so drivers at the moment as the nerves are settling in. First race of the season. Welcome along to Zandvoort. Welcome along, of course, to the Radical Series. Series 2, I believe. Yeah, round 1.
It is. And well, Biggles, I do want to mention real quick as we see Lucas Vieira maybe go to pole position, but behind him, though, it is Arturas. I'm going to struggle with that name too. Condelis, who goes to the pole on a 130.367. And he's showing what he can do. And you said it in the green room. He's very, very quick. Drove in the Europe Series 2. And he's almost matched the pole position time in the Europe Series, of course. A 130.313 was the time there. A 130.367 is what we have here. So only a couple of thousandths of a second off. I do quickly want to mention, guys, we are very close to 800 subscribers on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. So if you would like to help us out and get us to those 800 subscribers, that would be awesome. 7 to go at the moment of subscribers. So if you would be able to help us out, that would be awesome. Turn on the bell, the notification bell too, and you will get a notification when we go live. Lots of racing for you to enjoy in the upcoming week, and loads of action out on track. So enough action for you to enjoy. So if you don't want to miss it, subscribe to the JP Broadcasting channel and turn on the bell so you always get notified once we go live. Back to qualifying. Diego Zuccarelli is in second at the moment, 2/10 off. He's going to come across the line. Is he going to improve? A couple of green sectors, but also a couple of yellows, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to improve. He's not. Goes to 130.6. Scott Galligan, though, not been out on track yet, is he?
Keep an eye on Stevie. Keep an eye on Stevie. He's got a couple of purple sectors. He could be looking good. Stevie was already placing himself up at a P3. Stevie, those puns are going to come thick and fast, of course, but can you place yourself on the front row? Maybe even on pole position. Last corner navigate on the loud pedals, loud as you possibly can. Maybe the mistakes in the first mini sectors cost him. Can he improve a little bit? Don't think he's going to steal pole. No, he's going to stay in that third place at the moment. And yeah, once again, as Dan mentioned out there, 793 subscribers. If we get to 800, Dan is going to promise you he's going to give you a bitterballen, I think it is, bitterballen there, and a famous Dutch treat here in the coast of the Netherlands at Zandvoort.
You can get them basically everywhere. Also, fish is something that is very common here on, of course, well, the coastlines and everything. So if you want to get yourself some fish out on track, I know a good couple of spots here around Zandvoort. So,
Kipling's popular, isn't it? I believe when I was living in Amsterdam. A lot of Kipling treats there. It was very nice.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's basically fish leftover, but like it's the thing that I enjoy the most. What I do not enjoy is seeing Diego Schneider going backwards out on track, and well, that is his qualifying lap
going
done.
Forwards too. That's not bad.
That was coming out of turn 9, going into turn 10. Tricky zone that you can easily light up the rears. Now,
I think that's it for qualifying too, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it is too. Well, it was only Diego Schneider out on track still improving. But what we have seen, and what is a common trend again here, is the fact that you have to build it up in this car. I was talking, I think, with Ewan earlier on in this week too, when we were doing another Radical series. You have to build it up in this car, and usually the third lap is the quickest, as we have come to the end of qualifying. So we're going to bring you up the grid very, very shortly. Here is the
as Mark Webber would say, to build it up, buttercup. Yeah, here it is. So I'll go through it if you like. Steve, well, there it is. So and Doris gets it there on pole position there, just a little bit there from Diego Zugalinelli. Stephen Place will steal that P3. Lucas Vieira was quickest during practice sessions and stuff. A little bit down on the second row there, P4. Manuel Zozina will get the Colombian driver up there to P5 there. Zach Jacqueline will get the first of the American drivers up there next to Diego Snyder there and the Austrian alongside Eric Hartmann. And then you go back to Jason Duckworth. Nathan Brumby there, the Australian driver. Charles Karsek there, Kansas Getry. And I believe Scotty is the other Aussie that's at the back there, Aussie New Zealand. But there is your qualifying here for the first race of the season.
A full 13-car grid, drivers revving their engines. They want to get this race on the way. I am happy to announce that Scott is on the grid, so he just didn't qualify. He is on the grid. We're waiting on Jago Schneider now to get on to the track, and then the whole grid is going to get underway. They're going to head down into turn 1, the Tarzan bocht. And well, here we are. The drivers are ready. Here we're going to go. The 500 lads are going to come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's taken a long time, but they're out on green. A good start for Lucas Vieira behind that. And it seems that Diego Ciccarelli already dropping back down into third. Arturas, though, a good start for him. He's going to lead down into Tarzan. Stephen Blaze, though, also keeping himself in 4th position, dropping down actually a position. And it's Lucas Vieira with a very good start, going from P4 all the way up to P2 now. Also a good start for Eric Harmon in the mid-pack too. He's gone up 3 positions from P8 to P5. And a little bit further back in the field, Nathan Brumley has got himself also up into P9. We've all come through the first corner cleanly, it seems like, Biggles. And so far, so good.
It was so far so good, actually. A little bit better. Even, well, nicely, cleanly. Of course, a little less on the field than there was in the European division. But the Europeans went very cleanly through there. He had to go. Yeah, Lucas did that center S start, didn't he? Getting 2 positions, getting it done.
You see different lines.
And here we go right now. On board
corner.
with Stevie. Yeah, you do get so many different racing lines through here, don't you?
Yeah, you can cut it from really wide and you can basically keep it tight too. That corner does allow you to do that. And well, we're going to see a couple of different lines through there. What is the quickest? I don't know. I'm not a racing driver and I'm not a scientist too, so I couldn't tell you really. One thing I do know is that they're all pretty evenly matched. A little bit further back is Jason Duckworth. He's fighting for P9 together with Nathan Brumby. And he's gone off track. Nathan Brumby has gone off in turn 13 through Ari Leyenbeck now. And he's got back on track, but that has lost him a position to Jason Duckworth. And the Australian so far, Biggles for you, not doing too well, dropping down both. The only one gaining a position was Scott a little bit further back.
Yeah, man, but they're driving upside down, so you got to give them something, all right? They've got the screen flipped, so they'll get used to it. They'll flip themselves upside down. Didn't you worry about the Aussies? Of course, Nathan and P10 and Scott, as you can see the pictures on right now for the 666 machine. Currently, here's a position gained, of course, but he's got a lot of work to do. A little bit of lock-up as well, too. Going back to the lead of this race, that is the battle, as Luke is putting a bit of pressure on. Further back there, yeah, you saw Scotty, there was a lock-up, but yeah, I did go back to that one, Dan, because Diego, of course, is a little bit of bunched up there in Stephen Place, so that's a great little Canadian battle between those two drivers, P3 and P4, going, where's the snow? No snow here, my friend, in the Dutch coast of the Netherlands right now, guys. I don't even know if it is snowing in Canada right now, but anyway, puns are coming thick and fast. You've got plenty of time for more of those puns, Dan.
Well, 27 minutes and a bit more left of the race. We've had a clean opening part of this race so far. All 13 drivers seemingly able to make it through. And well, the biggest gainers, you're going to see them on the left-hand side right about now. And there we are. Biggest gainer in the field, Eric Harmon, who's gained 3 positions. He had a banger of his start, absolutely shot off the line. And well, took 3 positions before we went into Tarzan.
Tarzan block. Yeah, Dan, oh, look at that. Fastest lap goes to actually Lucas Vieira. You can see there, that's the purple, so he's 3/10 off. Look at that racing line difference as it looks like Zaccarelli going a little bit too deep into that corner. And you got the gaps up and there on the screen there too, Dan. So don't remember, we can also switch over the inters to see the gap, the interval gap between those drivers. As you can see that fantastic speed cam driving over the JP Broadcasting GoPro cam. You know, James spends a lot of money on those GoPro cams and the drivers keep running over them.
They keep breaking the lenses. But Stephen Place trying to make headways here. Jago Zuccarelli is the man who's going to try and get past. This is, of course, an all-Canadian battle. This is Canadian versus Canadian. So who is the quickest Canadian? How many times can you say Canadian in a sentence? I think I said it
They're going to be polite to each other. They'll be
times.
like, I'll let you pass, mate. I'll let you pass. It's all right. Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's the thing about Colombians. Sorry, the Colombians. I mean, Canadians are going to be very polite about their overtaking. We're just throwing puns out there at the moment, guys. Hey, nothing wrong with being a polite, loving nationality, that's for sure.
Further up the road, though, it's Zuccarelli, or excuse me, it's Vieira who's not giving Cordelis any room to work with, really. Of course, Cordelis got a good start, kept his pole position, and is now still in P1. different racing lines though through the last corner.
He's going for it now, I'd have to say, because this is what happened. Yeah, maybe not, but instead of dummy, yeah, that's a dummy. And this is the thing too, it took quite a bit for the leaders to do a bit of a switcheroo in the European one, Dan, because it was very, very hard to get the overtakes, especially at this level of racing between these two gladiators. 5.2k I rating there for our race leader, 6.6k I rating for our Brazilian Lucas. So, yeah, if gap car, but find it the right way, and that's the closest battle on the track right now, and lap 4.
Through the Skyvlog. Like I said, the front left tire will be screaming once you get out of here. And then you have another left-hander to go another, well, demanding corner for the left
Eric's
front
gone
tire.
around. Yeah, keep an eye on this battle, but before you go back to that, Dan, because Eric's definitely had a bit of a spinneroo. But we'll keep an eye on the sharp end of the shed, as they say, because yeah, you know what happens? You switch away from the camera for 1 second and something happens. We got replay saved. Don't worry about that one. Sorry, Eric. We'll pull your pictures up soon.
Further back, it's also Charles Crossage who's fighting with Nathan Brumby ahead of him. Excuse me. Well, I love that Hot Wheels livery. Now my question is, I am not going to talk about it anymore. I did it again.
Yeah, you loved it that much, did you? Charles loved it as well too. In fact, he wanted to spin it and show it off a little bit like a catwalk.
He wanted to show every part of that car to the viewers, and I think we all love it now. But the question I was going to ask, does it change color when it drives through water too? That would be awesome.
Oh, true. Hey, yeah, that used to be paint you could actually put in cars, like the T-shirts. I'd actually like that, isn't it? But anyway, he's in a bit of traffic right now, and he's in a hot water in a Hot Wheel racing machine. There you go.
Is he going to get past Gallagher, though? He, of course, spun and lost that position. We just saw that coming out of the Hansard chicane.
Yeah, we might have to go back to that little replay.
Scott, hold up,
we'll
here,
get to
Biggles.
We'll get to your CJ in a second, yeah.
Stephen Place is also going for a move. He's all over him. He's all over Zuccarelli at the moment. Where do we look? About 3 battles within a tenth of each other. And you don't really know where to look at the moment. There's a battle.
He's going for it. Oh, he's setting dummies here. Trying psychological warfare.
He's going to get him. He's going to get him. He is going to get him into the Hansard chicane. He's going to go to the outside. That will give him the inside for the second part. Can't carry the speed through the first part, though. And, well, that is time lost for Stephen Place again, together with Zuccarelli. Both of them fighting, but Biggles isn't helping them to catch up to Arturos Undelis. Try and say that one quickly.
3 times and backwards. Yeah, and why there may be a little bit of a break in the gap there. A lot of action to show there. I know that CJ out there in the chat was in the accident of Harmon, and that was an accident with Harmon. We've also had Charles have a moment, and we've had Diego have a moment. But for now, see, it's Krasik at the moment. Here we go. So Eric, there's the contact. Yeah, I figured that. That car's flipping. That's probably going to take your flipper record at the moment. Goes back on there into the into the sand trap where Dan used to play as a kid in the Dutch coast on his holidays. But for now,
I have a sneaky suspicion he's going to spin it on entry. There we go.
Was it contact after? No,
luckily not. It's going to stay there for a long old while, though. Tires are hot, so watch out. But he gets underway again. Here we are back to live pictures now. And it is still Arturos leading the way. And still this battle commencing out on track. Still Stephen Place trying to get past his fellow Canadian, Diego Zuccarelli. Where is he going to make that pass, though? That's the question. It's a difficult track to overtake on. We've said that about a million times already this week with the Radicals, but he's shown that he's capable of overtaking into turn number 13 now. He has to get a good exit out of here through the last corner, through Arie Luijendijk, and then he has to set him up for a move to turn 1. Maybe now 2/10 is the gap between them. He must go for it now, else you're never going to be able to go for a move. He pulls to the inside, backs out of it again, but it has worked. Zuccarelli has gone deep, but Place himself too eager to get back onto the loud pedal, and he almost spins himself around. That was a good opportunity there for Steven plays Biggles, but he's plundered it himself.
He's okay. Yeah, he's got 20 minutes to do it all over again, but it's going to take him a few more laps to catch up. Battle still brewing between P1 and P2. Glad you're enjoying this one out here, CJ. Yeah, there's been a few little incidents and moments, and that's just what it's called, a motor race, as Mikey used to say in the Formula One. And this other battle brewing up here. This is with Manuel here, the Colombian driver. This is Sozano. I should know that. I speak a little bit of Spanish.
Solorzano.
Yeah. I can't drive anywhere near as good as Manuel can, that's for sure.
Well, one thing is for sure, he is trying to get past Duckworth out of him. Of course, Duckworth himself caught up behind Jacqueline in front of him. Jacqueline, the green and black car. Duckworth, the white and red car, and the, well, red and black car is Solorzano. So which of these three drivers is going to come out ahead in a couple of laps' time? I have a feeling that Solorzano is the one coming out ahead of these three. He's been quick the last couple of laps. Set a personal quickest lap time last time round. He was about 3/10 quicker than Jason Duckworth. But as we know on this track, catching up is one thing. Overtaking is a complete different story. Up front, though, the gap has come down to about 0.2 of a second. Biggles.
This could be a run.
Might
This
well
could be a
see
run.
move here.
Yeah, if he gets a great exit here out of the final corners. Well, not the final corners, of course, we're going into sector 2. Yeah, this is your little banking elevation. You get so much in Formula 1, but you can feel the little banking, you can see the little banking here. I doubt this track actually evolves being on the Dutch coast. That usually just goes up and down at sea level. I think we're just above the sea level, actually, for one time. But still can't find a way past, but he's got plenty of time. This is what happened earlier in the European race. They chased each other for a bit, and you get down to about that 7-minute mark left of a race there, Dan. That's when things start to heat up a little bit. Look at the power slide coming out of the corner as well in the rears. Just slipping as Lucas is trying to tap the gas pedal, see if it's going to just cooperate with him at the moment. He realized that he probably pushed it a little bit too much there. Cost him about 0.2, but more importantly, pointing in the right direction.
Well, Lucas Vieira in P2 at the moment. He's been pushing this last lap, and he's been making some small little mistakes, and that gap back out to 0.6 now of a second. Wide through the last corner, cutting back, different lines possible through there too. All of them basically just as quick, because it's a pedal to the metal corner basically. Full throttle that one. So Lucas Vieira not losing any time in the last corner. However, through the first corner he does again, goes a bit deep. Are we seeing tyre wear coming into play maybe for Lucas Vieira at the front?
Maybe. Now, there's no mandatory pit stop or any of that jazz. And the only retirement at the moment, unfortunately, is from Eric Harmon. As you saw, that massive accident has elected that. Even I think they're fast repair, but he's just elected that it's too much. But today, for race 1, we don't know what's happened behind the scenes there, but we do know this battle is brewing currently at the moment for P5. That's just led there by Joel Jacqueline. So we've got a battle of the Canadians, my friend, and now you have a battle with the the Colombian and both of the United States of America drivers just up the road.
All inner country battles, if we can call it that, and well, only of course one Colombian driver. So it's going to be difficult for him to find a countryman too.
A racing line difference there.
Yeah, but now you're going to see he's going to lose out on exit too. So it is really what you want to go for. You can set him the dummy, push him to the inside, and that's what we usually saw done in Formula 1 too. You can push him to the inside, take the outside. We'll take the inside through the corner before through turn 9. Push him to the inside of turn 10. Make the corner for yourself as wide as possible. And get him on the cut back out of turn 10. That's a textbook move, and something that we've seen done so often here on this track in every car basically. So I'm waiting for the first driver to do that here this evening. I'm not quite sure if the drivers are aware of it.
Well, they get the demo from you, Dan, but unfortunately you didn't translate it from. Oh yeah, there it is. So Manuel's really struggling in this dirty air, at least. He's approaching on a completely different line. Maybe just biding his time patiently or whatever, but I'd have to say he's not really tucked up on the gearbox at this point. Yeah, he got the memo, but yeah, unfortunately, the translation from Dutch to Spanish didn't quite pay off yet.
gaps at the moment seem to be creating Biggles. And the smallest gap we have is the battle that we see out here on track. It's Jason Duckworth in the middle of a sandwich between Joel Jacqueline and Manuel Solorzano. So who's going to come out ahead of these three? I said Solorzano a couple of laps ago, but it seems like all drivers really in the tow struggling. Solorzano has closed the gap now to about 5/10 of a second, a little bit less. But a second behind for P9 and P10, a second almost to P11 back again. Seems like gaps slowly but surely creating Biggles as everyone is just biding their time at, well, just over the halfway point here.
It did in the European division, mate, at this point, mate, but trust me, it's going to start heating up a little bit later on. Mistakes are going to start creeping in a little bit as that tyre wear is there. That's what happened in the European division. Once again, watch that one back later if you want. That's kind of an indication of what happens further in this race. CJ out there in the chat, and I'm going to rely on you, CJ, because well, somebody's had a little off-track moment as well. But CJ, what's your opinion on who you think? Oh, there it is in the background as well, too, and that is
Solorzano's round.
Manuel. Yes, he's got to. Don't get back on the racing line.
Don't pinching. That was close. Yeah. And now is he going to go for it? Is Brumby going to go for it? Not quite. Brumby in the Gulf livery got well pinched to the inside of the corner. Really had nowhere to go, then basically brake. That was not maybe the best way to get back on track for Manuel. Well, we've definitely seen better than that, but Manuel, of course, trying to regain control of his SR8, and in doing so, of course, pinched Brumby to the inside of turn 2. Now, of course, that battle has now, well, slowed down a bit since Duckworth has now got room behind him. Jacqueline is now going to try and push away from Duckworth. If he's going to be able to do, we're going to see it in the next couple of laps. But that's sad to see because Manuel Solorzano was in a heated battle with Jason Duckworth.
Well, Solorzano, I thought was really struggling. You saw the different racing lines. And I think he did not like that dirty air too well there. And it kind of looked like inevitably struggling to battle with that car. And he needs to just, be at one with the car once again. Buy it flowers, take it to a nice dinner if you need to. That's what it's about, and then get used to it. Don't fight it too much. It seemed to be what he was doing. He's clearly got some pace. Clearly can make his way up. A 2.2k IR rating indicates that you are a very, very good driver and very capable of getting job done when you need to get it done. But at that point, he's just fighting it a little bit too much. And just to sit back, relax. Maybe that little bit of a spin might help him just cool, calm, and collective build his way back up there with at least 12 minutes and change to go in this race. But the battle you're watching right now is between the Americanos, and that's Jason Duckworth and Joel Jacqueline just up the road.
Well, Duckworth has been looking at the back of Jacqueline's car for quite a while now, since the start of this race, really. And so he's going to try and get up in another position. 4 positions gained up for Scott. He is down in P9 at the moment. He's up 4 positions on where he was at the moment. So doing well, gaining positions, picking up the pieces that others left behind. And so far, he's doing a tremendous job back there in P9. 4 positions, biggest gainer in the field. Let's go back to the front here because Stephen Place is caught up again to Zuccarelli. A battle that has been going for quite a while too. It looks like Place has just cooled off his tires a bit and is now once again going to go at it.
Got a good exit too. Got a great exit. Just seemed much more confident on the power of that. He's got to be a little bit too far back here. You have to be about 1/10. You can see a little bit of a dummy he sent there. But look at the exit speed coming out of the corner. There's contact, and we saw that this was almost deja vu. But look at the sportsmanship. Fantastic sportsmanship, Dan. He's realized it's a my bad situation. He's lifted off, and he's allowed Diego to just continue on with that. I like to see that, don't you, Dan? You like to see that.
Definitely. Well, we're going to take a look again at that.
Yeah, too deep, and it was contact, and he realizes it was a my bad. See there. And he lifted completely and just said, okay, race on, let's go. And honestly, you don't see that very often in racing leagues. Dan and I, you've casted about 1,000 of these. I've casted about 1,000 of these too. I'd like to see that because they're still going to be continuing to race. They still have 10 minutes to race and game on again. Just like wipe that out.
Again. It's happened again. Look at this man, Diego Schneider. Not the first time we're gonna see an incident from him. Of course, last time it was a corner earlier. Now into the chicane. Is he gonna go straight on? No, he's gonna lock the rears just like he did last time round. Keeps it on track though this time. Not as bad as I thought it would be. And look who's behind that though. There he is. That is Scott Galligan, who was behind him there. And he has already overtaken him at this point in time. So there he goes off again. Oh, he switched off. Sorry for that at the wrong time. But let's go back to this battle because Duckworth is all over Jacqueline now. Coming into turn 1. He might well be able to go for a moving 210s. We saw that this might well not be enough coming into turn 1. Not too long of a run.
It should be enough now, but 1/10.
He's got the outside. Go for outside and cut back. Go for outside, cut back. Not quite the tight line he needed through there. It's quite a, well, if you're 2 centimeters soft there, the camber doesn't really carry you through the corner. So it's a difficult one if you're like a little bit off. It's a completely different corner to what you were used to. And that's what I think Duckworth experienced there in the SR10. Schneider, though, a little bit further back. He's all over Crossage now. He's going to move to the inside. No, he's not. He's not. Schneider still behind Crossage. And he's going to have to stick behind Crossage's rear wing, though. Has seen better days. Well,
yeah, sorry, because you see Snyder's rear end. Yeah, he hit the lab pedal, and that rear just went oopsie doopie. Then, yeah, he needed a little bit more power to that one. Now he's going to have to chase the Hot Wheels machine. That looks like it's got damage. You can see the rear wing, just a little bit of damage. But I saw this before the European division. Even with that rear wing damage, it's not as nasty as it feels to drive, because I saw drivers putting some fantastic banker laps in, even with that damage. Just more cosmetic in these radical cars that are very tough than it is like a Formula 1 car when you get in-plate damage.
He's going to get him.
Oh, no, that's contact
between the two. And it was Grossi who just lit up the rears. And, well, nothing that Schneider could do there. No time for him to react. Grossi has gone back or has already spun his car around again. Oh, no, Jago Schneider. What a, well, horrendous evening for him.
Can we have a look at that one? It's a difficult situation. He's lost it, right? And you got to remember, he's got damage. That's the Hot Wheel machine. So he's lost it there. And it's got to be a racing incident, because you have to say, Diego's got nowhere to go.
No.
He's on the power because he wants to get the overtake done. Unfortunately, the spin before has caused that. That's got to be, to me, obviously the drivers will see a different perspective. We're only seeing one little replay. But that's just the way the quicker crumbles, unfortunately, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah. He was able to continue quite quickly after that too. And here he is, Diego Schneider into the pit lane. Yeah, he has considerable front end damage. Steering, though, seems to be straight to me. So it doesn't look like he has steering damage. That looks how he pulls into pit lane. No steering damage.
Oh, somebody said Krasik's upside down. Yeah, Charles has gone upside down here as well, too. CJ out there in the chat's right on the ball here.
Has he? I don't think he did.
I don't think you doubt CJ out there, mate. He's called this one. I think there was a moment.
Well, he's got back on his tires again, and he's underway. I don't think he was upside down. I think he just did a 360 in the air and continued his way from that incident. But anyways, for Grussies, of course, his race will now be damage control, basically, because
this is not the replay, but you're looking at the current thing. I wonder if the replay is going to show you anything.
We're going to look at the replay of Grussies.
Yeah, Grussies. I think the car looks okay, but this is obviously, this is the replay of the incident before anyway, so. He didn't go upside down. Yeah, he didn't go upside down, but... Oh, no, this is another one. Fence.
Oh, yeah, that's later on. That's later on. We can take a look back at the other one too again. Here we go. Yeah. Let's go on board with him. Onto the nose cam. No, he did not go upside down.
That's it. That's what CJ was talking about. Not upside down, but airborne. Absolutely.
He had a wild moment there.
The car's still dinged up, man, but it's a Hot Wheels machine. He could smash a Hot Wheels machine a million times as kids we did, right? We were smashing them all together and stuff. They're still strong enough to do it. Diego Schneider, I think, has had maybe another moment, but we're getting down to about 6 minutes and change in this one, and the battles are still brewing here. Between, of course, the USA drivers, the number 25 and the 708 machine, that's Jacqueline and Duckworth, you can see on your pictures. And you still have the Canadian battle just up the road there between Diego and Steven. So, yeah, battle of the nationalities here. Nothing, I think, that Lucas is going to Yep. Oh, there
Goodbye,
it is.
yeah. Braked way too late there.
Oh, good spin back for recovery. Wow, that took nanoseconds to get that point in the right direction. Great recovery there from Diego.
Well, I think he's just driving around very frustrated. He's trying to make up for a mistake that, well, he could do nothing about, basically. And, well, it's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. It's unfortunate for him, but nothing that he can do about that. He couldn't avoid that, and it's just how the race played out for him. Sadly, he made contact, and he's now going to try and make up for that by driving, well, by just leaving everything out there. He's going to drive that car to pieces if he needs to. And I think we might well see a couple more mistakes from Diego if he's going to do that, because when you do that, you're on the edge the whole time, and it's easy to make a mistake further up the field, though. Stephen Place still not able to get past Zuccarelli. How long has he been looking at the back of his fellow Canadian?
Well, you answered that one. 25 minutes and change. He'd still be doing it for another 4 minutes at best. But I think right now, Stephen Place has to find something in the Team Radline machine. Now, he needs to find an extra gear, if there is one available, legally, of course. They'll scrutiny the cars. He's trying to obviously push Diego into a mistake. Diego currently running in P3 has not been pushed into the mistake because Diego says, hey, my team's called Overtake. Stephen's team's called Team Radline. By the way, somebody's going to come out in place. That's a Canadian battle, of course, which we mentioned there for the nationalities between P3 and P4. Go off the racing line completely here. Now it'll be one more move, I think. Go
now
back on the racing line.
he's going to dummy him. He's going to give it a shot.
Yep.
And he did
Rear end
it.
sliding.
But Zuccarelli went wide. There's a change for the lead. It's Arturo's off. And the leader of the race just gives up the lead. He's off the track. And he might well be overtaken by Zuccarelli too. No, he's too far back. But wow, what a plot twist here. It is, well, Kudelis who's gone completely off track. He was leading this race comfortably by about 2 seconds. And Vieira has now been gifted the lead, really. Is this going to be maiden victory for Lucas Vieira here in the opening, well, race of the season? We're going to take a look back at what happened to Artur.
Yeah, it's got to be alone, right? I don't imagine there was any traffic on the track. Yeah, let's have a look. It's completely alone.
He's going to
What do you think before you see this one? Do you think it's here locking up the rear? Yep.
Oh, and then he just tried to get on the way again, and then he spun it again. No.
But he got off the racing line, which is clever, and gets back onto it. But lives to see another day. Still gets the bubbly stuff on the podium, I think, at the moment, with 2 minutes and change to get it done. But unfortunately, that P1 is a little bit out of reach right now. But you never say never, because he just made that mistake, and anybody could make a mistake like that, isn't it? Snap a brake with the worn tyres. Definitely possible.
About 2.5 minutes to go here. Like I said, I hope you've all enjoyed it. It's been a great race so far. 2.5 minutes still to go here. CJ, of course, thank you for watching. He says, just put some paint chips on it, on his car, and it's like my Hot Wheels from when I was about 6. So there you go.
I think I agree with that one too, mate. Exactly the same. My Hot Wheels when I was about 6 as well. That's a good. Doesn't matter. I mean, James and I are a little older than you are, Dan, and I'm not sure about your age, CJ, but I'll tell you what, Hot Wheels has been around a long time, and they still will be around for a very long time.
Funnily enough.
No, you're not a racing driver then, Dan.
No, I was playing with the wooden toys. Like, you know, you have those wooden trains, you have those wooden trucks.
Dan, you're not that
and
old.
You also have wooden race
you have
cars.
metal casting vehicles in the old time, for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe they didn't have them in the Netherlands. Anyway.
It's from generation on generation, Biggles. My mum and dad used them, and now I use them.
Oh, wow,
and now
that's cool.
My kids are going to use them too.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. I like that. Wooden blocks, metal, it doesn't matter. It's got 4 wheels and goes around a track as fast as possible. That's all that matters, and that's what these cars are doing.
Well, let me tell you one thing. This man is fired up after his mistake. He's just done his personal best in Sector 1. White flag, Barry is waving it, and a purple Sector 3 for Kudelis too. Look at that, a purple time for him. Puts in the quickest lap, even quicker than he did in qualifying, but it's this man who he needs to chase down. He needs to make a mistake, Lucas Vieira, otherwise it's going to be a maiden victory for him. And Kudelis could have won this one, but well, if it wasn't for an unfortunate spin, 2 laps before the end, he would have been there, and the race is a little bit too long for him. It looks like, of course, traffic involved in this one too, but what a race Lucas Vera has driven, has kept Arturas Kondelis honest for the whole race. You have to be honest here, because I don't see this go wrong in any way.
He's flying too, Dan. Would you like to go on board for the final couple of sectors or so? Because he's absolutely fine. I think he just realized, that Arturas took that lap away for fastest lap, but I think he wants to steal it away to get all the everything ticked off the right boxes, right? They get the trifecta.
Yeah, something quick I want to mention. Look at the helmet, and it immediately tells you. Of course,
I told you it was Ayrton Senna-esque, isn't it?
But
it's he's Brazilian.
It is. It is an Ayrton Senna. Well, at least.
No, that's an absolute Ayrton Senna. Almost like that's what Lewis Hamilton, as a honorary. But then again, who needs to honor anybody? Lucas Vieira on Wheels TV Racing will win the first of the Radical Series America race. He got it. He got to earn it a little bit there. He got gifted a little bit, but either way, you got to be in it to win it, and he certainly has done it there. Ayrton Senna would be very proud of you, my friend, today for winning the first America's race here. Radical.
What a drive from Brazilian. There he is. Of course, Arturas Kondelis could have gone off to the best start of the season. That start, though, the best start of the season has now gone to Lucas Vieira. He led every lap bar the last 2 laps of the race, and that just tells you again, ladies and gentlemen, how important it is to lead that last lap. It doesn't matter where you are 2 laps before the end. If you do not cross the line as first driver on the last lap, it doesn't matter. You can lead the whole race as Arturas has done here, and make a tiny mistake, an unforced error really for Kondelis, and well, that's what happens, and you're off the track. Last one to come across the line, though, who we are waiting on is Charles Crossage in the Hot Wheels car. That car has seen better days in P11.
But it's still making it, mate. It's still going to see Barney. That's all that's important. He'll still get 11th. He'll still get points, and that's crucial. Yeah, as you said, you got to be in it to win it, of course, and you have to finish the race. To finish first, you have to finish the race, and that's crucial. And it's not the first race today. Of course, the European division as well, too. Our race leader had a little bit of moment and lost the race lead, but it is, so there's results for you to go over there, please.
Well, we saw it, of course, hard break for Arturas Kondelis. 2 laps before the end, spun the car going into turn 3, the Hugenholzbocht, a tricky corner. It is a bit banked. It did have a bit of a banking, but we've seen drivers having difficulties with the corner, locking up the race. Someone who did not do that, kept him honest the whole race, and well, got awarded for it in the end. The Brazilian Lucas Vieira wins the first race here from the Radical World Series Americas at Zandvoort. What a drive from the Brazilian. Of course, like I said, Arturas Kondelis comes through in second. Diego Zuccarelli kept Stephen Place behind him for the whole race. The pressure was mounted on him, and he could take it. Stephen Place is finishing in 4th. Joel Jacqueline in 5th. Jason Duckworth in 6th. 7th, Manuel Solorzano. 8th is Nathan Brumby. 9th is Scott Galligan. 10th, Kansas Gentry. 11th, Charles Grossage. Diego Schneider in P12. And Eric Harmon rounding off our field for today in P13. What a drive it has been from all these gladiators here around this track. And let's see if we can pull some of the...
Oh yeah, we already got Mr. Ayrton Senna himself, or Mr. Ayrton Senna 2.0 already. So let's bring in Lucas, Dan. Lucas, well, what a drive, my friend. On Wheels TV Racing, got 3 positions gained there from qualifying. I didn't think you put the performance into the qualifying during the practice, but hey, qualifying's one thing, race results are another. How was that?
Yeah, Hayden. It was a tough qualifying. I wasn't pressing much my qualifying. I screwed up like 3 times in the lap. I tried to abort second lap, but at the end I got a P4. I got a good start, and it was working good. I think the pace was good during the race. I didn't like much this track, but it was fun during the race. Yes.
Well, Lucas, of course, we saw the fact that Arturus went off, of course, 2 laps before the end. When you saw him go off into turn 3, what went through your mind?
Oh, I just was praying for me not to hit him. I was trying to avoid, and he didn't go back to the car into me. But yeah, I know Arturus very well. I know that if you make a mistake, honest mistake, he won't be under the way for someone hit him and end of both races. He's a fair driver, so I tried to avoid him. Yeah, it was really tough to follow him. I knew that he wouldn't have much opportunity to overtake. So I will sit behind it and just wait for a mistake. And luckily, he made the mistake, and I managed to overtake him.
Well, Lucas, a great start to the season for you. Having this start, what's going to be your goal come the end of the season?
I'm not quite sure if I will make to all the races. I have some appointments, some personal stuff to do. But I would try to do my best to be on the top 5 on this championship. It will be really tough because I know Arturus and some other drivers that not show up today is really fast. So I'm not taking for granted anything for now.
Well, GG's, my friend. You did a fantastic job there, of course, putting Brazilians back on top of the race. And I'd have to imagine, obviously, you are sporting the Ayrton helmet. No doubt he is an inspiration to you, of course, an inspiration to all the Brazilian drivers. Is that you to confirm that one? No doubt?
Yeah, no doubt. I use Senna is for me was the best driver in the world. For me, particularly, is my personal opinion, of course. But yeah, I use them for inspiration, and I also like the colors of the helmet.
Excellent. Well, he is. I don't think anybody could doubt Ed Senna was one, if not the greatest driver of the world. Anyway, we won't talk about that, Dan. We'll let you go. Thank you much, Lucas, because we'll have to pull in P2, of course, and so we'll let you go. GG's, mate. Go celebrate there. Go carnival time, essentially. Not just yet, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, congratulations. We'll pull in Arturus right now, Dan, so you can pronounce his surname. See if you get it right, of course, to the driver that finished in P2.
First of all, did I get his first name right? Arturus is what I'm gonna call it, and then second name, Cordelis. Is that correct?
Wow, that's amazingly correct. That's the most correct that anyone who's outside my nationality has ever been.
Dan!
Well, Arturus, of course, a great race from you. Honestly, you were on it from qualifying till basically the last 2 laps. Really, tell us what happened.
Well, I had a double downshift on my wheel, and that's basically pulling a handbrake on the car, and that's never great in this car. And yeah, it's as simple as that. That just happened. Almost lost the car. Lucas got through, and that's pretty much it.
It seems like the second time today, my friend, you've had a little bit of moments, isn't it? The European race that you were in earlier. And,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The first time it was about John. Now it's the hardware, but I don't really feel that bad about it. It's a lot of fun. This car. The guys are racing very hard and very clean. They're very fast. Lucas, I mean, just having that gap of a second behind myself, keeping him there, it's such a hard work. He's just one slip up and he's gaining like 3/10 of you. So it may have seemed I don't know, uneventful, easy, but believe me, it wasn't.
I have just seen there is a little bit of a hidden track on the left rear of your car. Is there a reason that the Nürburgring Nordschleife is on?
Oh, yeah, it's my favorite track in the world, and yeah, it's on my real life car. It's on my Radical. It's on my everything. It's on my wall. So yeah, it's everywhere.
All right, there we go. Well, Arturus, a great start of the season nonetheless, even though that incident happened in turn 3. What's going to be your goal come the end of the season? Are you going to try and win it?
I'm here just to have fun, and I'm having lots of it. So yeah, whatever comes, I'll take it.
All right, Arturus, congratulations still with P2. You drove amazingly on it from qualifying till the end. Well, we're going to see you next week again.
Thanks so much, guys.
And just real quick, I wanted to know what nationality flag it was driving on. Is that Are you still here? What nationality
Yeah.
flag are you driving under?
I'm driving under Lithuanian flag.
I was about to say Lithuania. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
but you didn't.
No, I was thinking it, but yeah, that's great. I wanted to clarify that one. You're the only European here in the Americas, and you were in the European division anyway, but it doesn't matter. Okay, great
Yeah.
job. P2's P2, and that's perfect. So
Cheers,
keep up
man.
the great work.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Well, we'll pull in the man who finished in P3. Now, of our last podium finisher, kept behind Stephen Place the whole race. Diego Zuccarelli, welcome. Diego, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
can.
are.
Oh,
There he
okay.
is.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I had some technical problem. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, tell us, you kept Stephen Place behind you for the whole race. He kept you honest throughout the whole 30 minutes. How was it piling up with that pressure?
Sweaty, in one word. It was it was a good race. I know, like Steven is very fast and is also very clean. So we had a couple of contacts during the race, but that's just about like trying to push through throughout the race. There was like sections where it was faster, sections where I seemed like I could keep him like a couple tenths away from me. But yeah, it kept me busy because I was looking at those two guys I had running away, and I had that race on myself with Steve.
We saw a fantastic sportsmanship, didn't we, Dan, in the booth there?
Yeah, we did.
When you guys
Yeah.
came together, and then I'm not sure whose fault it was, but you backed off and said, "All right, let's go again."
Yeah, that was great, and actually, I had a chance to speak with Steve quickly before getting in the room with you guys, and I will have to review it because like I always think I leave enough room, but then a quick review and replay will be nice. It seems like we both like kind of like got a little too close to the middle, but yeah, no, like as I said, like I've been racing like with Steve now for what is it, two seasons, and yeah, it's always like fun because again, when you keep it clean and you give it all, like it's always fun at the end of the day.
Well, to
Doesn't
me,
really matter.
it was just a reset, wasn't it? It was just like, okay, bang, we had contact. We'll talk about it later. And then you just both slowed down, then you went straight at it again, so you can continue the rest of the race. Not sure about the damage and stuff, but it just looked great sportsmanship, so you can continue. Otherwise, it could have been all nasty later on. Do you agree there, Dan? Like, that was...
Yeah, I mean it just shows the sheer sportsmanship, and well, he let him pass, and I think it was the only right thing to do, really. Otherwise, he would have, I think, gotten a sanction for it anyway in the way of a penalty. But like, they fixed it themselves, which is how it should be. I don't know if you agree with that, Jiggle.
Yeah, as much as you can keep it on the track and try to make the good choices, even the heat of the moment. It's it makes everybody's life easier, and it builds like a good environment to race.
All right, Diego. I've asked it to everyone so far, but I'm going to ask it to you too. It's a difficult question, so prepare yourself. What's going to be
Okay.
your goal for this season?
Oh, it's usually not to be last, but no, it's a new car this season. Like, of course, we raced the SR10 twice the previous 2 seasons, and I'm assuming like everybody like that is racing in this league is also familiar with the SR8 because it was a great car before like the introduction of the SR10. So the levels might have just shifted a little bit. Some people might find themselves a little more at ease with the SR8 versus the SR10. So it would be interesting to see where everybody fall into place. I don't think I'm gonna be here with you guys for many races, to be honest. But who knows? Like, I'll definitely try to.
Dan, and I have 2 questions for you to wrap that one up there, Dan. But Diego, I got 2 questions for you. One of them is A, did Dan pronounce your surname correctly? B, you are a Canadian driver, but you sound to me like you're very Italiano or some sort of accent in there. So that's probably 3 questions. But anyway, would you like to answer that?
What was the first one?
How I pronounced it. And
yeah.
I pronounce your last name as Zuccarelli.
Yes. That's almost correct. I will give you 9 out of 10.
I'll take that. I'll take that, to be honest.
How do you pronounce it? Just so everybody knows.
Okay, Zuccarelli. It's just that on the double C, you can just stay there a little more. But I don't want to get too picky. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty
Okay.
good.
And then
And on
it's not a very Canadian name per se. You're running a Canadian nationality, but anyway, everybody's from everywhere in the world.
That is
Are
correct.
you-
So
are
I am
you
indeed
two-
Italian. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of guessed that in the accent a little bit, but it's fine.
Yeah, I get
yeah.
Spanish a lot, maybe because of my first name. But yeah, I'm indeed Italian and live in Canada. That's why I show 2 flags in some of the cars that I race on.
Okay.
Just to be fair, right?
So Tifosi don't care. They still support you either way, don't they?
Well, it's a nice touch, but I can see it on the roll hood basically. On the front, it's a Canadian flag, and on the back, it's an Italian flag. If I'm
Oh,
not
that's
wrong.
true. Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah.
that's a nice
Once again,
touch.
we all migrate everywhere around the world. I'm living in Panama at the moment. I'm not Panamanian, but yeah, that's a great thing about having that. But that takes the fighting spirit out of you. And Dan, 9 out of 10, mate. You got 10 out of 10 the other driver's name. So
Yeah, I'll
Don't
take
worry.
that. I'll take
Yeah.
that. Well, that was
Well,
Diego Zuccarelli. I hope I pronounced that correctly this time.
Wonderful. 10 out of 10. You earned it.
yeah.
There we go. Well, Diego, thank you for joining us. And congratulations on the podium, and good luck out there, of course, next week at Sebring.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And that's something that I want to touch on too. Of course, next week we'll go to Sebring, 90 minutes there, so a bit of a longer race. Well, 3 times the length of this race. And well, if this race is anything to go by, Biggles, we're going to see some great action there.
Oh, this radical cars perform great action, isn't it? Because it's difficult to overtake. Now, Sebring may perform a little bit more. 90 minutes or may bring some of that little traffic into play. And you are well aware of that one, Dan. You say you're not a racing driver, Dan, but I did see you do the 12 hours of Sebring, so you are well aware of it. And you'll know that track like the back of your hand, no doubt,
Don't
coming
start
into next
that
week.
again. Don't. No, don't. It still hurts. For the people that don't know, 1 second we finished behind P4 or behind P3, and I drove my 2 best stints of my whole life. And as a commentator, that is not very quick. I hope you all understand that. I'm about 2K, but I do my best, just like James also does. James, I think, finished somewhere around P26 after, dropping all the way down to P40 at the start of the race. They were in an all GT3 split. So I think all in all, the commentators here in JPB doing quite well in the Sebring 12 hours. So all in all, I think for JPB, it was a very successful 12 hours. Could have been better, but I don't think we've anything really to go on about, because
You're right. Well, what's been successful today is round 1 here in your home in the Netherlands on the coast, Zandvoort, and the European division has been a cracker, and now the Americas division has been a cracker. So I guarantee you, yeah, let these guys do the driving, mate, and we'll do the talking.
Yeah. Well, that's what we've been doing today, and well, it was an amazing race too. Biggles, I enjoy once again being alongside you in the commentary room, and I thank you for being here. Of course, I thank everyone who has watched and everyone who has subscribed to the channel. If you haven't done yet, of course, we're very close to 800 subscribers. I'll check real quick. I'll quickly refresh the stream. Let's see where we are. We're on 793 at the moment. If you can help us to those 800 subscribers, that would be awesome. 7 to go at the moment. So, yeah, turn on the notification bell too, so you don't miss any of our action, of course. Quickly going on to our action, of course, we have the LSRL GT3 going on at the moment. Tomorrow, the start of the JPB Clio Cup, which is going to be amazing. Then on Tuesday, we will have the UK Sim Races. On Wednesday, we have the BSC on Bristol and TSRC Porsche Cup Round 2 with myself and James in the booth. I'm not going to go into Thursday because that's going to be a long old list, but that's some of the racing we have installed for you this next upcoming week. Thank you all once again for joining me in the commentary. We thank you, Biggles, for being here. We thank everyone who made this event possible. We're going to see you out there next time at Sebring. Good night.